Hello and welcome to Menu Heroes Digest.
I know. Yes, it's been a while.
His fault.
To be fair, I've been out of town. You know, I haven't gone into details of what's going on in my life, but let's just say I needed a break. Okay, not from you guys. You guys are lovely. You're awesome. But
From me.
well, partially true. But
Hi.
it's mostly your brother. And seriously,
Rude.
seriously.
Get out.
Um,
No.
it's mostly just like the constant back and forth going on with financials and everything. I'm still dealing with that, but it is a bit more manageable, or we at least looking for like legal assistance, So, but anyway, while I was gone, I managed to bring about a special guest for the show. Here he is, and he's coming for you. He's the first member of the DK crew.
DK.
Donkey Kong. DK. Donkey Kong is here. Yeah. All right. I wish I could have gone the whole crew, but you just can't find Lee Kong anywhere for whatever reason.
So, speaking of things you can't find anywhere for any reason,
We're starting off with the.
we're starting off fresh with the
Yeah.
Prince with the Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
So the Prince of Persia remake was announced
Mm-hmm.
in September 2020. And ever since then, there have been a string of delays and no updates. It's to the point where Ubisoft has announced that, the game isn't dead, but pre-orders have been canceled and refunds have been issued. Because, to be fair, they don't want to open pre-orders until they have a release date. Which,
Yeah.
makes sense, but
Yeah, you think every company would do that, but some don't.
yeah. So, they've revealed that the game is still being developed.
Mm-hmm.
They've also confirmed that they have no plans to remake any other Prince of Persia game.
Mm.
Only the first one, Sands of Time.
Well, I'm kind of mixed on that. I mean, obviously the first one is the best. It certainly is the one I played the most of. I think I was when I was like a young teenager. I was obsessed with the darker Prince of Persia games because like that was the cool thing at the time. Like, this is the dark, edgy version of this thing I like. That means it's awesome. And we've all
Shadow the Hedgehog.
we've all for the most part have gone past that, but you do see some people still obsessing over the Snyder versions of DC characters. So there's some people that are still obsessed by that, but. Yeah, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time was a really good game, and yeah, I think a remake could be really cool. But Ubisoft, they were just too busy with those dang blockchain and NFTs.
Yep. And they announced the remake too early.
Yeah.
So, The Last of Us.
Yeah, so we're moving on. Okay.
Well, there's not a lot to talk there.
I know,
Besides-
but just I was,
It's a fun series, but it's not really getting the love it deserves. from
which
the
is
developers.
weird because it started off as like as like a premiere thing and like had such big potentials, and just Ubisoft kind of squandered it like so many other things they've done.
It's Ubisoft.
Yeah, that's Ubisoft, baby. So,
The Last of Us is getting a board game.
all right.
So, as you know, we've got The Last of Us for the PS5, which is
Part
basically-
1.
Yeah, part 1.
Yeah.
And then we've got The Last of Us on HBO Max.
Yeah. The trailer looks fine. Yeah, it looks like this could be good.
And now we've got The Last of Us Escape the Dark. So this is a board game coming from the UK-based tabletop game studio Themeborn.
Yeah.
It's currently on Kickstarter, and it's cleared its goals, smashed those goals to pieces.
Alright.
So the game takes place in the world of The Last of Us, and it takes the lore and the everything basically, and puts it into the form of Themeborn's Escape the Dark board games. These are a series of board games where I guess you escape the dark.
Ooh. Sorry.
So there's a solo and there's co-op play set. Solo and co-op play, and it's set on an open world map, illustrated with some moody black and white art styles. I mean, from what I've heard, or Escape the Dark as a game engine, is it the right? Yeah, that's the right word. It's a good fit for The Last of Us. You take on the role of some survivors looking to survive, and you survive.
As you do.
As you do. And there's the game finds ways to simulate what they call hang-ups, which are, quote, various emotional forms of distress perfectly suited to the awful emotional states of the game's characters. And just this little snippet of the game
the picture
card, I'm interested.
Yeah, it's just that even though The Last of Us, 1 and even 2, I know that's still controversial to say anything nice about Last of Us 2. I think they were very well told, very well made, zombie games. It's just like, unfortunately, there was that period where there were so many different zombie movies, shows, and games all coming out at once that it kind of zapped a lot of my energy for it.
Yeah.
So while, yes, I am looking forward to new Last of Us content, kind of like, is zombies all you got?
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything else going? Are we gonna get like maybe vampires maybe thrown in here or some other creatures? I know. Again, I know it's gonna be a little. Well, you never know. Like Resident Evil, they've managed to incorporate a bunch of different other creatures and other ideas, not just sticking with the T-virus stuff they've been doing for decades. So, there's again, I'm not
Just spitballing here.
Yeah, just spitballing, just ways this keeps going because again, it's like whereas Ubisoft has kind of dropped a lot of properties. Naughty Dog clearly does have put a lot of stock on to Last of Us and want this thing to keep going and going and going. I just secretly hope they try some new things. And again, creating a board game based on what they've established is interesting. I'm sure that can open up some new possibilities. Like, I'm worried of like are we going to are we just treading the same waters as we have for not only these two games but also with so many other zombie properties out there. So,
speaking of something that's kind of burnt out, Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, so as you all know, Sonic Frontiers came out this week.
Yeah. We will play it, okay? I mean, we got to, all right? It's on brand with, it's on brand with me.
I mean, I'll probably play it on my own, not for the channel. But if you want to play it for the channel, we can get together.
Oh yeah.
We gotta finish Stray and we gotta finish Astros.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I definitely gonna finish Stray. But Sonic Frontier would not be a bad idea to go after that. I know there's that one.
Sonic Heroes too.
Oh yeah, I do love me Sonic Heroes, and that also had some interesting lore added to that game.
What?
Well, in terms of like the whole Metal Sonic, the whole like team aspects, and like Metal Sonic betraying Eggman and
things I didn't know until you told me.
This is why you asked. Well, it's like this is the benefit of being an old Sonic fan. You just some things you know, some things you learn, some things you experience.
But yeah, so Sega rather, has hired or is hiring a Sonic lore master.
And I'm pretty sure it was Sonic Heroes. They explained that there's a whole lab full of Shadow clones in there. Hence how he survived the end of Sonic Adventure 2.
Gotcha.
So that fact does not make Xander happy. Those of you unaware, Xander does not like Shadow
at all.
No.
So, on LinkedIn, there is a job application from Sega of America for a lore associate manager for the Sonic team. Obviously, you know, viewers know that Sonic has lore.
Does he.
Many viewers who are cultured knows that there is a series of comic books, specifically by Archie, right?
Yes. Although it has a history of like it had to end up retconning a bunch of. It had basically had to do a whole universal reset.
Is that because of Ken Penders?
Yes, because of Ken Penders. Yes. If you want to know anything about the comics, this Archie comic history, a short answer: Ken Penders is weird.
That's the answer.
Yeah, that's the short answer for a lot of things. But yeah, certainly there's like this character called Whisper the Wolf is like she's like becoming a popular new character that's appeared in the comics and everything. That'd be something I'd love to see in the games, but you know, then again, they're American comics. I don't know if like the Japanese team would want to do anything with that. But.
Okay, so I know we talked about no leaks. I'll tell you off camera.
I'm about to say like I try not to feed into the whole leak thing or rumor thing, but like there was so much that had been revealed of the new Pokemon game that I was ready to at least talk about one thing. That was at least kind of funny, but you said no to not. To not.
And this wasn't so much a leak, what I'm thinking about, but it's a spoiler, so I'll tell you off camera if you want to know.
Okay.
But yeah, so the responsibilities of the lore associate manager include reviewing and verifying story content for accuracy and consistency, as well as brainstorming script writing and providing feedback for new Sonic stories and characters, because Sonic needs more characters.
Well, you would have thought they would have had somebody for that, while this is going on, or you'd think like with the company invested in this property, you'd make sure there's people making sure everything's consistent, but also this is Sonic, and Sega has been known to be like, oh yeah, we'll totally do two different timelines, one by the Japanese Sonic team and one by the American team. Oops, we made a deal with this French company to make an animated show, so whatever idea the American team was doing, we're going to cancel that and make them do this, and adding in a bunch of other technical problems, Sonic Boom, Sonic, yeah. That's a whole.
Sonic Boom show was good. The Sonic Boom game's not good.
Oh yeah, but that's the thing. It's like, the Sonic Boom games were not meant to be that. They weren't meant to connect to the Sonic Boom show.
And they don't.
Yeah. Well, again, it's like that was never the plan, but Sega forced them to. Everything about Red Button games and everything and their beginnings and their deals with Sega, it's just sad.
Sad.
Yeah, well, it's like they could have been like a lot of people from Red Button games, like they were like guys that were once part of like Jack and Daxter, and I think one of the Crash Bandicoot games. So like, I'm sure they were wanting to come in with some fresh new ideas for the Sonic franchise, and Sega one point said yes, but then immediately changed their minds and just kept screwing the whole team over. So I'm sorry, I keep jumping into the drama. The drama of Sega and Sonic and everything. I'm hoping with this decision there'll be less drama, the people who will help make things more consistent and be able to things feel and flow more naturally with the story of Sonic and the worlds that he inhabits and everything. But we wait and see, because I have given my hope to Sega more times than I should have.
So, did you want to talk about...
And speaking of someone I used to give hope for, I used to be hopeful about, and have just dug their own grave and are spitting everyone's face before jumping into said grave. Here's Helena Taylor.
Give it up for anti-abortion. Woo! Woo! And lying about how much you were initially offered. Woo! Woo!
Yeah. So this was definitely the story that had broken. Well, part of it had broken before my break. I think both of us were just not in the mood to talk about
It was
all the.
October, and you were out of town, family
Yeah.
trip,
Yeah,
and then you needed a break the next week.
yeah. And it was like we didn't know all the details at first. It did seem like, again, her version of the story was that she was underpaid and mistreated, and was telling the fans to boycott Bayonetta 3, and it's for at least for about a couple of days it seemed like that was what's going to happen. And then more information came out from Platinum Games, and I don't remember if also just people who were working on the just in there in the booths and everything were saying like, no, Helena was like paid decently. She just wanted like even more. Like she wanted like 4,000 every time she went to the booth or whatever. So, yeah, yeah, the whole and that itself kind of sucks because there is a history of video game voice actors being treated like crap. I know we did our big. I did the big Silent Hill transmission, breakdown, before I went on break. And Silent Hill has its own fair share of mistreating its voice actors, mainly Guy Chichi, who did the voice of James Sunderland. He was not paid a whole lot when he got the role, and every time they did plan to reuse his voice for stuff, or they were going to do like the HD remasters, he just asked for a pay raise, hey, this game has gotten super popular, can I get a little extra money? And Konami said, no, you will not, and also we will get Troy Baker to replace you and dub over all your lines and act like you never existed. So yeah, and also I'm sure there's plenty of like female voice actors who have also been treated like that, and maybe even worse by the history of the game. So yes, voice actors and people behind the scenes have been mistreated in the video game industry and other industries. People are terrible, big, especially when they're owned by big corporations. They make things even worse, and that we need to fix these problems. Unfortunately, this whole situation with Elena Taylor is not helping anybody. With her being well compensated, but demanding more. Just be there, and now we learn something even worse about Miss Taylor, in that she was using some of that money, or she was using either a bit of her money or a bit of like donated money that fans sent her to basically put up anti-abortion, banners or billboards. Sorry.
What she was doing is, the boycott of Bayonetta 3. She was urging fans to take the money they would have spent on the game and give it to charitable causes instead. Which isn't terrible, except when, at least one of those local charities is, they put up billboards that are meant to guilt and shame couples or individuals looking for, thinking about, getting an abortion because of whatever reason. And, that's just not cool. It's not an easy decision.
No, and
I know several people who have had to have abortions, and it wasn't easy for them to make that choice.
No,
but
and also like there's just people with vaginas that like have issues with their eggs, or like have. I mean, there's certainly more. I'm certainly not an expert on vaginas. That came out real weird. But I have heard from people that there has been certainly complications of just like, not even just getting pregnant, but also just like, some things could go miswire, and you need to like reach an OBGYN to help, remove and pull some things out, and unfortunately there are laws being placed in some deep red states that are trying to even prevent that, because again, so many politicians have gotten into their heads this position of we are against abortion and anything involving any sort of medical treatment to people with vaginas, and anything. And
it's gross.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking awful.
And the majority of people making these decisions are men who don't have to worry about these. Men who pay for their mistresses to have abortions.
Yeah. And yet somehow they are getting the majority of the evangelical vote. Yes.
Yeah. Somehow they're more morally superior to us.
Yeah. Now, as of this recording, we survived the midterms, and while yes, things could be better,
they're not as bad as we thought.
Exactly, it's like that supposed red wave that was going to be coming.
Period? I was talking to my mom about that. I'm like, and it's funny because it's what people call periods.
Yeah.
The red wave. And I'm like, it's just so,
Yeah.
Republicans still have the most seats in general, and governors.
Yeah.
But they lost some. They lost at least 2 seats, governor seats.
Yeah.
They did gain 7 seats in the House, and they lost a seat in the Senate.
Yeah. And again, Georgia is still up in the air.
Georgia's going to have a runoff election. It's already been said.
Yep. So, fingers crossed, right? But it's still sad that
a red wave of criticism crashes into Donald Trump after midterm losses.
Yeah.
I'm not paying you, Washington Post. Go away.
Yeah. So, look,
regardless,
we're not being paid by Kotaku, but at least they're not asking us to pay to get through a wall. So that's why we use them. So, yeah. To wrap up that story, yeah. Talk about, I mean, if it wasn't for Kanye West, I would say Helena Taylor would be the person who is torpedoing their own career in real time, in record time. But no, there's already Kanye who's doing that.
Kanye's pretty much screwing himself over.
Yeah. So
Twitter. No, I'm just kidding. We're not talking about that. So Twitter.
We thought about it, and then we were like, no, we got.
I didn't think about it.
We're just too.
We don't need to talk about it. Everyone knows about it.
I don't have a Twitter. I never got Twitter, and with all this happening, I'm like, I'm good. I made a good decision in my life to not ever have Twitter.
Twitter's only good for memes and other stuff.
Or
not for news or anything useful.
Yeah.
It's a toxic waste dump.
Yeah. So yeah, it's actually pretty fitting that Elon Musk bought it. So.
Okay, I think though his $8 thing is the funniest thing ever implemented because he's destroying his business he just bought.
Yeah.
And it gives us all these memes. But I digress. This is a gaming podcast.
Yeah.
So
when you talk about gamers like Mark Zuckerberg,
yes, the
the real OGs.
The Metaverse.
Yes.
So how just talking about it.
So how popular and how massive this groundbreaking virtual reality is, Steven. Tell DK how popular it is.
Well, DK, it's so popular, 11,000 employees have lost their jobs.
Oh.
Now,
were they still paying bananas though?
No. They ran out of bananas.
What about walnuts and peanuts and coconuts? No. Okay. All right. I'll stop.
So the company had spent $15 billion on its Metaverse project. Zuckerberg messaged his employees on Wednesday.
We could have fed so many hungry people with that money.
He's like, today I'm sharing some of the most difficult changes we've made in Meta's history. I've decided to reduce the size of our team by about 13% and let more than 11,000 of our talented employees go. Let's see. He lays the blame at COVID's feet. And COVID was too good for them as a company, apparently. Outsized revenue growth, which was a result of people spending more time and money online during lockdowns.
Yeah, come on.
Zuckerberg, who is not taking a pay cut,
Yeah.
adds, many people predicted this would be a permanent acceleration that would continue even after the pandemic ended. I did too, so I made the decision to significantly increase our investments. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Macroeconomic downturn, increased competition, and ad signal loss. These led to lower revenue than expected. I got this wrong, and I take responsibility for this by firing 11,000 of you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I've been giving him too much emotion.
Yeah, you make it sound like a human being. Okay. I don't ever want to try and be super mean, but like, Mark sounds like he would be an AI.
He does.
Yeah.
The way he acts, Sweet Baby Ray's.
Yeah. It is a good sauce.
It is
Okay.
a good sauce.
Yeah, I'm like I can't
Sweet
hate him.
Baby Ray beef jerky. Oh.
I can't hate him for. Okay, there's so much reason to hate Mark Zuckerberg, but I'll admit he's got good taste in barbecue. All right, I'll at least give him we at least agree on that one thing.
But yeah, so a lot of people got fired because he wanted to invest heavily in the Metaverse and nothing came from it.
Yeah. He believed so hard he was gonna make a Tron / like
SAO.
his own little isekai world, video game world, and just never happened.
Never happened.
I mean, I think I know when I was a kid all those different anime that was about the virtual reality and everything, like
Sword Art Online.
and well, Dog Hat Sign. Okay, that was the OG Sword Art Online, and that stuff was cool. All right, not like this new crap, but no, seriously. But it always seemed like a cool idea, but then you see you actually trying to make it a thing, and there's so many obvious setbacks. Not even just like you'll be trapped in the game world forever. No, nothing that cool. It's always like you're probably gonna glitch and bug out, and also your character designs probably aren't gonna look that great. Like Meta.
Don't get me wrong, the idea is very cool, and I think VR has potential. It's just not where it needs to be, and of course, you know, things like this have to happen for VR to get to where it needs to be.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we can't make fun of it and report on it.
Yeah, I mean that is the thing. Like, I'm sure someone will look at what this as the baby steps of virtual reality and try and make the version that we all think about, which is kind of like the Matrix.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Tesla's cool. Elon Musk didn't start Tesla.
No, they certainly took credit for it.
He takes
Like
credit. There was
like
a video.
where, everything else.
There was a video where he was talking to someone, and he's like, "You don't even need this," and the person's like, "Well, but what about if this happens or this and this?" And he's like, I hadn't thought about that. And then the next interview, he's like, "So it occurred to me while I was talking to you," and I'm like, "It occurred to you when he said it?"
Oh my god.
I hate Elon Musk. And you know, I had given him credit for making internet accessible in Ukraine, and then he stopped because they missed a bill or something. So, you know, Fortnite.
That's Elon.
Let's talk
da
about
da 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 da.
who else but Elon.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Fortnite.
Yeah. I'm actually okay with talking about Fortnite now.
So it's been 5 years since Fortnite first came
Yeah.
out. Now this game is a lot more fun than, you know, we initially gave it credit for.
Yeah, like
And I still think we should do that thing you keep talking about.
Oh, you mean like visit the Martin Luther King moment?
Stop. No. Shut up.
I'm sorry. I'm never going to forget that though. They really thought it was a misguided attempt to try and honor a good man, but it was very misguided. Epic Capes.
They try. But anyway, Fortnite finally has an official tutorial map for the PC and console versions of
Yeah.
the game. Interestingly, the mobile game has had this tutorial since forever.
Yeah.
So it's funny that they finally 5 years after release are making an official tutorial level.
Yeah.
Which is good because it kind of sucks when you just get thrown out into the fray and you don't know what you're doing. If you don't know the controls, for some people that's part of the fun.
I mean, we've always talked about like that. Maybe an idea for a video would be about me, like my first timer, or like boomer tries Fortnite, and it probably would have been funnier if I just went in completely cold turkey, just try to figure everything out on my own. But like, if we did this, there'd be this tutorial thing that would.
No, you don't have to do the tutorial. It's optional.
Okay, so you would force me not to do it. You'd be like,
it would be up to you.
You would be like, come on, Jordan, come on, give it a try. Really give it the good old Fortnite experience, and really go out there and
Eat these jalapeno
okay.
peppers while you do it. We need to get back
you would make me, okay, so you wouldn't make me, but like we would think about like, all right, I'll eat it after I complete a mission, or I'm not eating jalapeno after a death, because I'll keep dying and I'll actually die in real life.
Well, no, you only die once in the game. Per round.
You only live once. YOLO.
So, did you want to talk about this, or did you want to talk about the other news thing?
Okay, I honestly thought I had like a Black Panther shirt in preparation for Wakanda Forever, but then I had a Chucky shirt, and it's like,
which one might go see? I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see it eventually if I don't go see it tonight.
Yeah. So I will be seeing Black Panther this weekend of this recording. So I'm really looking forward to it, and also like news of new Marvel-based games.
Ooh, Spider-Man, Black Panther, and others.
Yes. Yeah. My favorite character, Others.
Yeah. So EA is releasing at least 3 new games based on Marvel characters. One of them will be Iron Man.
Makes sense.
Being developed by EA Motive, who is behind the upcoming Dead Space remake.
Okay.
And then it's a single-player, third-person action-adventure game starring Iron Man.
Okay.
What were you gonna say?
No, I was being like, So yes, the team that was part of Dead Space, obviously they're not at EA anymore, or like they had to move on to something else with the Callisto Protocol. But okay, this is a new team that's doing this Dead Space remake, and yeah, hopefully they are given enough time, enough space to work on an Iron Man game. We certainly don't want to repeat what Sega did, which was having a team that really hadn't made their own game. They always only did support, help for other secondary support for other games, to make not only an Iron Man game but also a new 3D Golden Axe game, and both being terrible.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I keep flashing back to some bad decision Sega did that really upset me. Because I love me some Marvel games. Like a game about Iron Man should be cool and awesome, and there should be a Golden Axe thing coming, because those games were awesome growing up. And yeah, just Sega just dropped the ball. I mean, dropped the ball, threw it down a bottomless pit.
Oh my God. So yeah.
And then pour cement just to make sure that ball was never coming back. Oh.
Rant aside.
I'm sorry.
So it's been reported that supposedly an open-world action game starring Black Panther is in the works at EA.
Mm-hmm.
And we also know that there is a new Spider-Man adventure from Insomniac being developed, as well as Midnight Suns from Firaxis, which is that game starring Captain America and Black Panther.
Well, no, not Midnight Suns is not the Captain America Black Panther game. Midnight Suns is like, it's like Ghost Rider, Doctor Strange, Wolverine, and I think
It's an XCOM game. My bad.
yeah.
The comment
And Ghost Rider. Yeah, did I already say Ghost Rider?
You did say Ghost Rider.
Yeah, it's gonna have a bunch of like the darker Marvel characters, and also it'll have Spider-Man somewhere. But,
Somewhere.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but I'm actually looking forward to that game. You know, like trailers didn't look super impressive, but like I just like some of the behind the scenes stuff and some of the ideas for it seemed kind of cool, and you know, it'd be awesome that game pulled off a big surprise, and you know, like because I remember really liking the X-Men Legends games and the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games. So if Midnight Suns could at least be close to that, as good as that, I'd be happy. I'd be super pumped for that.
Oh, another thing that was announced that I just want to quickly shout out is For the King, which is a tabletop style computer game that's co-op.
Yeah.
They finally announced For the King 2, which is going to be coming out in 2023.
Okay.
And then we do have some sad news to end on.
Yes. Brace yourself, DK. While not exactly purely gaming news, this is a man whose voice has been a big part of my generation, and I'm sure many generations afterwards. And that is Kevin Conroy, you know, who did start as voice acting as Bruce Wayne in Batman in the 90s Batman animated series, has passed away today at the age 66 due to his short battle of cancer. Yeah, which again is a shame because I didn't even know he had cancer, but he didn't tell a lot of people about his personal life. Although, like, he was openly gay, and like when DC did their whole like Pride little mini series event, which is highlighting various like gay, trans, bisexual characters in DC Comics, Kevin Conroy did write a little short story in that called Finding Batman, which is about like him getting prepared for the role and them explaining a bit of Bruce Wayne and Batman to him, and him identifying with the idea of like a character creating a mask to hide their pain and anguish, because it was difficult for him to tell people he loved or close to him that he was gay, so but like the guy was an absolute sweet, nice man, beloved by other voice actors. Tara Strong, she also sent a post on Twitter about her being super sad about the loss of Kevin Conroy. And I can't remember which animated film that he did an interview with or did a commentary on, but there was one where he was talking with Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, and they were talking, and like he had like volunteered during 9/11, I think like a little soup kitchen thing, and somebody had found out that he was the voice of Batman, and he was trying to tell everybody else in the soup kitchen like, oh man, we got Batman here, and everyone's like, you're lying. And then he did the voice, like, I am the Knight, I am Batman, and the whole kitchen completely lost it, and we're super happy to like meet him and everything. We're telling them their favorite episode of the Batman the animated series. So the guy had a legacy. The guy meant a lot to a lot of people, and he had played the character not just in that show, but also in various different, animated films, and also in video games, and it's tying here too as well. And also Ed Boon, the guy who's like in charge of NetherRealm and Mortal Kombat and Justice, like he also gave a tribute to Kevin Conroy on Twitter, because Kevin Conroy was the voice of Batman in the Injustice games. So yeah. This is me trying to tie into that, but yeah, like the thing is with me, I've already had suffered loss, truly personal loss, these last couple months, and I've been through my fair share of heartache and hardship, and it feels weird that like an actor who I've never met be the thing to really shake me and really get me to like be hard to function and focus for the rest of the day. But yeah, like he was my hero. He or the voice he offered for Batman was the thing I thought about as Batman. Like, anytime I picked up a Batman comic, I'd imagine his voice for that Batman. And this person is gone that will never truly hear him speak again. You know, that does make the world a little darker, a little sadder, you know, and you know, but I'm gonna try and then on somewhat of a positive note, in that, like, you know, since he was a generous man, since he was very kind and trying to be as supportive and helpful to other people as he could, I think it's best if we do the same thing. If we ourselves, you know, try and live like Kevin, at least in his later years, of him trying to reach out and talk to people and, you know, try and, like, you know, always be as generous as we can, you know, and be thoughtful for other people, you know, so. Alright. And you have any thoughts on this or anything?
Not really. I didn't have a whole lot of experience with Kevin. But I do know how important he was to you.
Thank you.
And to many others.
Yeah.
It's always a shame when somebody good goes.
Yeah.
So we're sorry to leave you on that somber note, but
yeah.
maybe we can make it a little happier. You know, if anyone, you know, watched to the end of this video, leave your favorite Kevin Conroy moment in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching, and until next time, stay cool.
Thank you so much for stopping by, Seth Rogen. Well said. Well said.